Live. We are live. We are live. Good evening, listeners to this and viewers of this week in interview. And the TDN family in general. Welcome to the second episode of season 14 of this week in interview. It's always a pleasure to be with you on a Wednesday night. So I hope you have your favorite beverage, your snack, and you're ready for a wonderful conversation that I'm going to have with a very special guest tonight. So, listeners, gather around. In the meantime, share the link, remind your friends, remind your folks that this week in interview is live and that they should come and join us. So we'll be right back. Don't move unless it's going to you forgot to get your drink and you're rushing to get it. Don't stay away too long. Come right back. All right, I hope you didn't go too far because we are here. Welcome once again. And to you, my regular listeners, welcome to you. A very special welcome to you. You make this time every Wednesday to spend an hour with me, and I am truly, truly grateful for that. I don't take your time nor your attention for granted. So, welcome back. If tonight is the first time that you're listening to this week in interview, welcome. I hope you like what you hear from us and you participate enough to come back and to become yourself a regular listener to the program. Those of you in Dominica who are listening to us on RVR Jams, it's an online radio station in the Dominican market on DigiPlay Channel 59. Welcome to you and to say thank you to the management of RVR Jams for collaborating with us and for carrying this week in interview live. Also, Radio SBE Online in the Toronto market. They are carrying this week in interview live as well. No matter where you're listening, whether it's on Facebook or tdntv.net, if you're driving or otherwise occupied where it's not safe to watch, you could be listening on tdnradio.net. We're also on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, TDN Media, TDN Network One is YouTube. Welcome and share the link. Share the link with your friends. I get so many comments during the week about folks really liking the conversations that we have, that the more people that we get to share it, I think, is the more informed that they're going to be. We touch on health, we touch on wealth, we do economics, we do education, we do culture, and now is a big culture time because it's carnival season. Have you joined your band? Do you have your costume, or are you just going to do what we say in Dominica, do spontaneous mass? I remember once upon a time we used to say that Dominica has the most spontaneous carnival, and but we're moving more and more towards organized bands. I guess there's a commercial aspect to that. But whatever it is that you're doing right now, that's this time of the year, a special welcome to you. And it's January. We've passed the mid mark of January. We're approaching the end of January, and that's the reason why tonight's topic is important. Because I think there are two times when we usually will stop and take stock of our lives and make big plans. It's at the start of the year and some of us do it on our birthday. And so tonight I invited one of our favorite doctors, Dr. Trippy, um, Dr. Margaret Wallace. She's an accomplished mental health expert. She has other handles, but what I think of what she does because she gives us mental food every week, multiple times a week, to help keep us stable and calm. And so I think of her as a mental health teacher, guru, all of those things. So I invited her here for us to talk about goal setting. Don't tell anybody. Another word for it might be New Year's resolution, just because we're doing it at this time of the year. But some people have a negative connotation when they hear New Year's resolution. So we're thinking about it as goal setting. Did you set goals this year? What is it that you want to accomplish this year? Do you want to travel for the summer? Do you want to take a winter trip? Do you want to take a cruise? Do you want to see your savings grow to 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000? Do you want to see that? Do you want to see your kids successfully become adults or adolescents? Do you want to see your kids successfully navigate in high school? Whatever it is, whatever the nature of the things that you want to accomplish this year, I think that you have a higher chance of achieving it if you were to sit down and set it as a goal and to think about how you are going to get there. So that is tonight's topic. I think I have spoken enough in this rough introduction that I want to bring my special guest on. A very warm welcome to Dr. Margaret Wallace,
Thank
affectionately
you.
known as Dr. Triffy. Welcome back to
Thank
this.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Thank you. It's still a new year, and you can wish me happy birthday too. My birthday was earlier
Right?
this month.
Oh, mine too. Happy
I
birthday.
know. You too. Happy birthday to you. See? I will not come by your moment right here. But Dr. Triffy, um, it's your first time on the program for 2024. So even before we jump into things, I'm sure you want to maybe tell your listeners, your fans, Happy New Year. I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that.
I sure do. I think last year was tough for a lot of people on many levels. And so I'm seriously hoping that you all have a wonderful new year. And I'm hoping that what we do tonight will offer some structure, maybe, and some guidance and some ideas for how we can do that better, for how we can set intentions for ourselves this year and really see those things come to fruition because we planned better.
Yes, certainly. Structure is the word, right? Um,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yes.
That is the structure. So I don't want to rush you, right? But I want to jump right in. I'm
Mhm.
anxious to jump in.
Let's go.
Um,
Let's go.
yeah. Why is it important to set goals?
I would, if I was a person who answered a question with a question, I would answer it like this. Why is it important for a builder to have a plan before they build a
Mhm,
house?
mhm.
It's the same thing. So, setting goals properly, those act as plans for the whatever it is you're trying to create. And they are formulas for how to create goals that actually work, or at least have a higher chance of working in your best interest. And I know many people have heard that phrase, make your goals smart. What does that mean? So earlier tonight, you asked me, what's one of my goals for the year? And I said, I want to make a lot more money. That was not a proper goal because it was not smart. What does that mean? What does that mean? I want to make a lot more money. A lot more money could be $5 extra. So to make my goal smart, I want to make it specific. So something like I want to earn at least $50,000 more this year by December 31st. So I made it specific. I gave a particular number. So I'm going to know when I hit my goal because if I get to 49,000, I know I didn't hit my goal. If I go to 60,000, I hit my goal. So I have a way to measure it because it's very specific. It's also measurable. Is that attainable? Is that realistic? And is it time oriented? Is there an end date? My end date is December 31st. Of course, it's attainable for me, it's realistic for me. So when we're creating goals, the plan has to be smart. If it's not, then we just kind of flailing around. We might get there, we might not get there. Sometimes we're very far, from what we thought we should have been accomplishing by now, only because we didn't really give ourselves a proper plan. So the
Right.
plan didn't include a time, it didn't include an amount. So we knew, yeah, I hit my goal.
Right. So SMART, SMART.
Mm-hmm.
And you said they should be specific,
Mm-hmm.
it should be
It should be
measurable,
measurable. Yes.
attainable.
Yes.
What is the R again?
R is realistic. R is
Realistic.
realistic, as in in Dominica, we have all our little parables, right? Our little parables. Our parents used to tell us, don't have espada papai. So you got to
Mm,
be realistic. Espada papai is you can't expect a male pawpaw tree to create pawpaw or papaya. Yeah,
mm.
it's not going to bear. There are some fruit trees that are not going to bear
But
because
it flowers every year.
it flowers and it fakes you, right? It's a fake. it's, it'll fake you and you'll believe, oh, it's going to bear, but it's never going to bear. So you've got to be realistic. Yeah.
Right.
And the goal has also got to be attainable. Like, why never hang your hat where your hand cannot reach? So why would I at 54 say I want to become an astronaut? There's not enough time left for me to learn all that I'll need to learn to become an astronaut.
Right.
Even if I really want to do it.
But you
Yeah.
but you can set a goal to sell 5,000 copies of Powerball.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a realistic goal. Yes. It will require me, it'll challenge me to do a lot of work. Yes. But or I might hire somebody to do the task for me, but it's completely attainable and it's realistic. And I could put a time on it and say by the end of 2024, I've sold five, at least. I like the word at least. I like that little caveat, at least, because that leaves room for so much more.
For so much more. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, Dr. Triffy is also an author. And her latest book is called Powerball, which is the Creole for parables. And in it, she
Mhm.
has a lot of gems of wisdom that was passed down to us from our ancestors that I'm sure, can find application in our daily lives that would help us along the road towards attaining our goals. So if you don't have
Absolutely.
your copy, it's available on Amazon.
Yes, sir. It's
Okay.
available on Amazon in paperback and in hardcover. And it's just waiting for you.
Definitely. Yes, definitely. So we have a goal. I'm going to set a goal on here
Uh-huh.
for every member of the audience. 20, I'm seeing 20 right now. I don't know on the
Okay.
other media that's not measured live here, but we
Hmm.
want we want to sell, help me attain this goal, that Dr. Triffy sells at least 20 copies of her book by the end of the week.
Look at that. See, that's a smart goal. Yeah. It's very specific. It's measurable because at the end of the week, we'll know if it was 19 or 27. Yeah. It's attainable and it's very realistic. And we put a time on it. So we're not just leaving it up to, oh, whenever,
Right.
wherever.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So definitely, folks, help me with that. All right. So we're going to help Dr. Triffy to sell 20 copies of a book, and we should all get it because we all benefited from those parables that we heard from our grannies and our mommies and our uncles. By
Hmm.
having the book, you get the opportunity to share it with your kids, your nieces and your nephews, and it can open up opportunity for you to talk to them about difficult topics.
I think that's one of the
Icebreaker.
most valuable things about the book because it gives us, especially those of us who are in the diaspora, who don't have an opportunity, maybe often, to speak the language to our kids because they're so busy. They have all their homework to do from their American classes, right?
Hmm.
They have
Hmm.
all
Hmm.
their schoolwork, all 8 days, 8 hours a day. They're in class. We barely have time to even see them at night. But a book like that is right there and it's always available. And it opens so many conversations with our kids.
How do you spell Powerbell?
Powerball is, as it sounds, Pawabol.
BOL,
Powerball.
Powerball. And it's
Yes.
available on Amazon.
Yes.
Putting it in the chat, so nobody has an excuse as to why they didn't get
I will do that for you.
it. No, seriously though, one
Yes,
of the
I
goals that
will.
we have to set for our new year is to support each other more.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
because if we support each other, we are more available to help each other. We have more capacity to help each other. So go to Amazon, get your copy of Dr. Trippy's book,
I agree.
Powerball. No, no, no. So are we saying that if somebody sets a goal, it increases the chances of them attaining those goals?
Absolutely. And the research bears that out. Yeah, the research bears that out. You're less likely to make mistakes because you have a roadmap, you have directions. If you're really thinking about your goals, you're gonna hook your goals into your purpose, into things you really, really are passionate about creating. Yeah. So absolutely you increase the likelihood. I mean, if I have a plan, if I have a map and I know where I'm going, I'm more likely to get there on time. Yeah, I'm less likely to get lost and have to waste time and waste money. Yeah, feel frustrated, feel overwhelmed because I'm not getting what I want. And that's why I see a lot of people stuck in that space, where they lost direction because initially they didn't have a plan. Their goals were kind of like in their head, but they didn't have a plan. And here's the other thing. A lot of us, we think, right? Some of us have trouble falling asleep because we're up all night saying we want to do what we think we need to be doing. The mistake many of us are making is we're not writing it down. You got to write it down.
Okay.
You've got to write it down. Yes.
Your goals have to be written. So
Yes.
you can sit down and you can dream about your stuff, but when it doesn't become a goal until it's written down. That's what you're saying.
You've got to write it down. And you can write it down on a piece of paper. I mean, these days we have phones, so we can write it in our note section of our phones. You can go to
Hmm.
the dollar store or any store, get a little composition book, and write all the things you want to accomplish. And write it down. So I suppose, think about it. So I'm a human being. As an individual, I might have individual goals. I might have goals for my family. I might have career goals. I might have relationship goals. I might have financial goals. Each, and that's, I think mentally we think, oh, it's going to be that's too much work. Oh my God, that's too much work. No, invest the time in yourself. Sit on a Saturday afternoon and just follow the SMART formula and break it up into little areas of your life and create your goals.
Right.
January is the
So
perfect month for that. Perfect.
January, and for me and you, it's also a birthday. We don't have a second time in the year to go do it. We have to do it in January. But because as I was saying, the two times where people tend to think about their lives more is in the beginning of the year and on their birthday.
Yes.
And so, you talk about setting your goal that fits in your purpose. So one of the questions
Hmm.
that I have where I think that fits in, only questions I intended to ask you is, what is a good goal? I know you said a goal has to be smart, but what would
Hmm.
you consider to be a good goal? Because everybody's goals, I guess, is something that's very individual to them and what's important to them.
Hmm.
But if I
Hmm.
if I have never really set goals before in a specific way,
Hmm.
how would I go about deciding what a good goal is for me to set for this year?
So, first off, everybody has a right to create whatever they want. I say make them legal, ethical, and moral. So, hopefully, your goal is not to, what you call it, bring a gun into the country without a license. You know what I mean? That's illegal,
Hmm.
that's immoral,
That's
that's
illegal. Hmm.
unethical.
Hmm.
Yes. So let's suppose your goal is to lose weight or to get healthy. I want to get healthy. A lot of us, we start off the year like this. I want to get healthy. But I mean, but what does that mean? Exactly. So a good goal about your health is going to say, well, I am going to exercise at least 30 minutes every day for at least 5 days a week. That's a good goal. It's
Right.
very clear.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And you have a lot of passion for it. You have energy that you want to expend towards that goal. It's yours. Yeah. So some of us, we don't want to put effort into other people's goals. That's kind of tough. Like say you're a couple. One person in the couple might have this goal for the relationship, and the other person is like, I'm not feeling that. Yeah. So a good goal has people, we're on board, we're teaming up together. Yeah. If you're an individual, it's different. It's all you as an individual.
So you're saying that you have to choose goals that fit within you and your circumstances.
Yes, and what you want to create.
Mhm.
So it doesn't just have to be like, think of it. A goal is usually something you have not yet accomplished.
Okay.
Yeah. So that means you're going to have to work hard. It's going to be challenging to get from point A to point B. Yeah.
Hmm.
So those things have to be factored in when we're thinking about accomplishing our goals. So we have to have enough energy, and we have to be willing to expend that energy towards those tasks that it'll take to get us to the end point.
Right. And so, I mean, somebody says, okay, I want to set a goal. This is what I really want to know, but I don't see how I can achieve
Hmm.
that. You know, I'm not making enough money. I'm not working. I don't have no
Hmm.
help. How am I going to save X amount? How am I going to? So I know you talk about it being realistic, but also how
Hmm.
is it really important to be able to see every single step from where you are to where you want to be?
No, no, because if we had to see every single step, a lot of us would back out because
Right.
we would see how hard it was getting there, say in the middle or towards the end. I have a little strategy that I use, and I've probably shared it here. It's WDEP. Again, all these little structures, these little formulas to help you clarify your thinking and take it from the wherever it is that our thoughts come from and put it into something, into a physical form. So what is it?
Hmm.
What do
Hmm.
you want? W, what do you want? Get specific. What are you doing about it? What have you done about it so far? That's the D. You got E, evaluate how that's been working. Have you done anything? Have you done something and it didn't work? Have you done something and it is working? That's your evaluation.
Right.
Yeah. And then D, connect. So it's called WDEP. What do you want? What are you doing about it? Evaluate how that's been working and make a new plan or adjust your plan. And that's an
Right.
ongoing process, ongoing process, ongoing process.
I remember the last time you were here, we were talking about your other books,
Mm,
in which you have like a workbook that helps
yes.
people to set those goals. Can you talk about, just remind people what those books are?
So I've got two books. My first book was called Do It Now.
Hmm.
It's a 7-step plan to fix bad habits that just get in the way of your success. One of the things that I've been finding with people is a response to their anxiety. Yeah, not feeling like, oh my God, do I have everything I need to accomplish what it is I want? So a lot of us, instead of approaching the problem, what we do is we just freeze. So our freeze stress response kicks in and we put it off, we put it off, we put it off. We go do everything else instead of the thing that we really want to do. And we know we have to do to get to that point. Another problem is negative thinking. Negative thinking patterns, not just like Tomorrow, I'm actually talking about 12. I call those things the devil because they will knock you off your path. There are ways that we think that they're called cognitive distortions. So your cognitive is about your mind, right? And your
Hmm.
thoughts.
Hmm.
A
Hmm.
distortion is when you go in koshi, right? Or you're twisted. It's not clean, it's not clear. So an example of a cognitive distortion is if you're a person who, when you hit a wall, you think, oh my God, I will never make it. Oh my God, nobody likes me. Oh my God, it's too much for me. That's a lie. You just told yourself a lie. You just told yourself a lie. There are some people, I'll give you an example. There's this young lady who she missed a very important exam. It was an LSAT. You know, the LSAT is the exam you take if you're going to apply to law school. And somehow she slept through the date of the exam. So she got to saying to herself and to me, I will never get into law school.
Wow.
That's a big leap, isn't it? That's a big leap because why would you never get into law school if you only missed one LSAT exam? I mean, the LSAT is offered throughout the year,
And most people take it more than once, right?
more than once. So you get to do it again. Yeah, there are many schools all over the country, all over the world. So there are some of us, though, we just give up and we just say, yeah, the worst is going to happen. It's called catastrophizing. So when something bad happens, we think, forget about it. I will just never recover. I can't. I just have to give up. So those kinds of they are traps. They are such there's such a burden on the mind that it can completely shut you down. So if that young lady doesn't have somebody to talk to who can help her look at it in a different way, what does she do? Gives up, right? Gives up. And so what the book does is it teaches how to work around and work with these roadblocks. They're roadblocks. You're going to succeed, especially if you came, let's say you were born in a family where, or in a culture where you didn't really have people, boosting you, encouraging you, and you had to create the path for yourself. You need that because trust me, you're going to have some sort of cognitive
Dr.
distortion.
Chief, I think we're having a little bit of
You
a challenge
grew up
in terms
in
of
a
the
very
connection.
stressful circumstance.
So I'm
Mm,
gonna take a commercial break now. I want you to
yes.
disconnect and reconnect. Let's see if we get a better
Okay.
connection because you come in and out. So
In and
I'm
out.
going to take a commercial break now, get a word from the sponsors. And in the meantime, while we're doing that, I'd like you to go out and come back in. Let's see if that will fix it. All right.
Alrighty. Yes.
All right, awesome. So, folks, I hope you are getting as much as I'm getting from this conversation so far. The idea of goal setting is to add some structure to the path that you travel, and nothing is in a straight line. But at least if you have a target in mind, you have a very good chance of getting there. And so I'm going to take a quick break. Tonight we're talking goal setting and how to set yourself up for success in 2024. We're just scratching the surface. I want you to put in the chat if you have goals, if you did set goals for 2024. If you're comfortable, you can share some of them. If you're not, you don't have to share it because goals can be private. Although you can have someone that you tell your goal to, which is sort of help you to be comfortable. Um, so Catherine, I see you on there. Petra, I can only see if you're on if you make a comment. All right, Sophie, Sophs, the usual suspects as we call it. Havis, you have to come on. We have to educate my audience about insurance. That's very important. All right, so let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Trifi. Hang on, folks.
presented by.
People say I've got a great smile. Well, I have to say, this is all thanks to the professional team at Beacon Dental Group right here in Dorchester, Massachusetts. I've got world-class dental care. Beacon Dental Group has expert and caring staff dedicated to providing the most advanced and satisfactory treatment in all aspects of oral health. Their services are designed to meet your needs and give you a perfect smile, too. General checkups, cosmetic surgery, Gemini laser service, and advanced procedures, all in a state-of-the-art facility. Call or visit Beacon Dental Group today, 1026 Blue Hill Avenue, Dorchester, Massachusetts, or call 617-282-2146 for a smile that lights the world.
How much Dominican history do you know? Want to learn some fun facts? We have a great and fun way to test your knowledge and learn more about our history. Get your copy of Dominic Anu, Dominica in Puzzle. Fun for the whole family. Available now on Amazon.com. Visit pushpast10.com to learn more. Email us at dominicainpuzzle@gmail.com or call 877-698-9894. Looking to promote your business, engage current customers, and reach new people? Well, look no further. From the basic presentation to a fully fledged advertisement, use your video ads to attract customers. At Man's Audiovisual Productions, we do just that. We produce videos for business and event promotions, product demo videos, animated explainer videos, fundraiser ads, and much, much more. Engage your clients and sell online. We customize the video to match your brand design. Guaranteed to play flawless on all devices, including smart TVs. Contact us at telephone number 203-690-4342 or 767-245-6238. Visit our website, mansaudiovisual.com, or email us at derekvideo@gmail.com.
Welcome back, listeners. I hope you had a chance to take a quick bathroom break if you needed to, or refresh your drink. And let me just mention some of the folks on here. As we said, we have Catherine Helena Dorset. She's an author herself. She has the number 3 of her trilogy, Fire and Montserrat. Look for your copy. It's hot, hot, hot. Definitely, we're going to have her on to present her book to you as well. Petra Carbon, that young lady who's doing the shipping from the Virgin Islands, from Dominica to the Virgin Islands. I know that's going great guns. Wish you all the best. I know you have goals set for 2024 in that regard. Soaps, always on board. Welcome. Havis, we got your birthday and New Year's wishes. Kamem, we got that. um, who else is on here? Carla, Carla Smith Drago, welcome. Good to have you on. Phil Senior, Bertrand, who else? Patricia Zamor, and there's quite a few other people on here. Um, who am I missing? Those are the folks who have made comments. I see you where I'm looking. I only see those who have comments. There are much more of you on, but so um, one of the questions that I got from someone on another chat is one I'm going to ask Dr. Triffy. Dr. Triffy, are you back? Yes, she's back. Um, while we were taking the break, we got some questions. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the questions that somebody asked is, what are the challenges that you can face when you're setting goals? And they said both internally and externally.
So as you're reading that question, I'm thinking number one, anxiety. If I've never done something before, I'm going to be feeling, well, I am likely to be feeling some anxiety. If, say, you've made a goal before and you didn't succeed, you're trying again, anxiety. Anxiety is one of those emotions that we have to prepare for. We have to prepare for it. You got to just accept that I'm a human being. I'm going to feel anxious. You just have to know, well, what do I do when I feel anxious? But I do is I talk to myself and remind myself, all right, I got this. I can encourage myself. Every time I make a little bit of progress, I might pat myself on the back. Yeah, I might find ways to reward myself when I make progress towards my goal. We've got to expect that we're going to feel anxious. So, anxiety cannot be a reason I stop moving towards my goal. I've got to expect that I'm a human being and I'm going to feel anxious. Yeah. So, the little SMART, SMART formula, do your best with it. Do your best in really clarifying the goal. I want to be healthier. What does that look like? Well, break it down. I want to lose 10 pounds by September of 2024. Hmm? Yeah, that is completely specific. It is measurable. If you hit 10 pounds, you know you hit your goal. It's attainable between now and September. Of course, you can lose 10 pounds. It's realistic and you put a time on it. Yeah, now you've got to look at other things like, well, what are my strategies going to be? So that WDEP, which is what do I want? I want to lose 10 pounds by September. What am I doing about it? Or what have I done about it? Well, you write that down and then evaluate it. How has that worked for you? Is it working? Is it not working? Do you need to now create a new plan and do something else? Remove something from your food. Well, let me try intermittent fasting. Let me do this. Let me do that. But break it down if you're having trouble with the goal. You got to break it, like pull it apart. Because if not, it just is like this big thing that feels heavy and overwhelming. And that's where a lot of us stay frozen.
How do you eat an elephant?
Exactly, one bite at a
One
time.
bite at a time,
That's
right? Yeah.
that's it. Yes, one
Yeah.
bite at a time.
Filsinia is reinforcing what you said, to write it down. She totally agreed to write it down. She says it needs
Yes,
to be visible in order to be
yes.
feasible.
Feasible. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it needs to
I
be
like that.
visible in order to be
Yes,
feasible. Um,
I like.
so w- goal setting, and folks get disillusioned. That
Mm-hmm.
New Year's resolution thing doesn't work. I doesn't set New Year's resolution. I don't do this. I don't do that. Let's spend a little bit of time on the alternative of not setting goals.
Well, I think an unexamined life is a wasted life. I think you're more than likely going to be like a puppy chasing your tail if you're refusing to set goals and become clear about what it is you want and how you might go about creating that thing that you want. If you're waiting for, well, maybe the situation will just be, perfect for me one of those days. That's like saying I want to win the lotto, and every Saturday you
Yeah, that's like
batting
saying,
lottery.
yeah, I want my savings to be $5,000, and the only plan you have is to buy lottery tickets.
You see what I'm saying? Like, like you can do that if you want. Like, I mean, I see a lot of people moving through life like that. Back home we call that Viki Vi. Whosoever will may come. Whatever happens, happens. No, yes, we don't have control over the future in the sense that there are many unexpected things that happen. But trust me, if you don't know where you're going, you might end up somewhere else. And that somewhere else might hurt, like, and you might not be able to recover from that place, that somewhere else you ended up because you didn't want to invest the time up front creating a plan.
and and also, a goal is like a destination,
It is, it's an outcome, it's the end.
right? And so if you don't have a destination to set your target to, you will end up anywhere,
I mean, you stroll in. You got the
right?
what's the wapomle. I mean, you're just playing around with your life,
Right.
which you have every right to do that. Like people have every right to live life Like whatever happens, happens. That's one way to live your life. Good luck to you. But if you're among the people who listen to you, who know they have expectations, they realize they can create things, they feel good when they accomplish things, and they want to get better at doing that, you're going to do it better if you have a plan
Right.
and if you have a smart plan.
Yeah, and so for example, we have people we like. We have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people that we interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the people that we admire? The people that admire are people that who achieve,
That's right.
right? And so they achieve because they set a goal. Maybe some people get there accidentally, but I can guarantee you the percentage is small. In preparing for this conversation tonight,
Mm-hmm.
I read something somewhere that says that if you have a goal, so let's say you're going from Dominica to Guadeloupe on a boat.
Mm-hmm.
The boat has a captain.
Mm-hmm.
The captain has to know the coordinates of the
That's it.
port in Guadeloupe
Yes.
to take him
Yes.
there. Otherwise, he might end up in Guadeloupe, but he'll end up on a rock,
That's
or
right.
if he ends up in Guadeloupe, he'll end up on a rock
Exactly.
or somewhere wrecked. For him to get to Guadeloupe safely, he has to know the destination, which is the port in Puerto Peter, wherever it is, that
Exactly.
that he's going to aim his ship at. And so that is what a goal is. It's setting a goal gives you a target to set your compass so you can try to achieve it.
So think about this. This man, this captain who did not use his plan, who ended up somewhere, who knows where he ended up? What are the consequences? That's where we pay a high price. Money, he's got to find his way back to the real place, right? The passengers are probably mad as all get out.
If they survive the wreck, right?
If they survive, they might have lost their lives. He might have lost the boat might have shipwrecked. So the consequences of not planning, not writing it down, not having it here because, ooh, I got it like that. It's in my head.
You
It's
just
in my
wing it.
head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth it. And again, people have a right to choose to do it that way. But like Catherine is saying, I mean, even the Bible says to write it down. Write it down. I heard somewhere, and I don't know for sure if that's correct, but many Orthodox Jews have this little thing right here, like with, but they supposedly their prayers written in these little things on their foreheads. The instruction is to write it down so that you can keep the information, you can transfer the information if it's written down. A child, a grandchild could continue a plan that a grandpa started because it's written down, as opposed to the parent who says, it's in my head.
Right. Right. So when you were talking before the break, I wrote down a couple things that you said. You mentioned habits,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned talking to people, and I guess so. What are some of the tips that we can share with the audience? Writing it down is one. Okay. What are some of the other tips that will increase the chances of successfully reaching a goal?
Okay, so think about Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers is one of those groups, organizations where people go if they want to lose weight. And something that Weight Watchers does is they use kind of like a buddy buddy accountability system. Every week, people go in and somebody else is weighing them. Somebody else. So tell somebody else about your plans. Not just anybody, because there are some people who cannot handle us doing anything that makes them feel anxious. So if your goal might put you far ahead, somebody you love might be like, why are you doing that? I don't like you to do that, because they're afraid you might leave them. It's about fear, yeah? But find somebody you can trust and tell them that you're starting a new plan, or you're activating a new habit to get you towards your goal. because that person can serve as an accountability partner. They can remind you, hey, did you get to your goal yet? Did you lose the 10 pounds? How far are you? So when July comes and you said you were going to lose 10 pounds by September, your friend might be like, why are you eating all of that dessert? I thought you said you wanted to lose 10 pounds. So that's the value in having at least one person you trust, somebody who's trustworthy, who's shown their dependability over time to you, that they have your back and they're supporting you. Another thing you can do as you habit is to kind of tie the new habit to something that you're already going to do. So let's suppose, you gotta go, uh, you're going out, you go out to eat maybe once a week. Yeah. Make sure that after you go out and do the little eating, you're like, okay, well, every time I go out to eat, I'm going to make sure I eat a salad, even if I have a little dessert. Yeah. And I'm maybe going to take a little walk every time I go out to eat. I'm going to take a little 20-minute walk after I go out to a restaurant before I go home. So you tack on a new habit with something you already doing in service of your goal. In service of your goal. I think it's also important to have environmental reminders and things that are supporting you. So if your goal is to lose 10 pounds by September, you got to clean out your fridge so that when you go into the fridge at the end of the day and you're hungry, you're not seeing all kinds of things that are not supporting
Ice
your
cream
goal.
calling you like over here.
You understand? So you have to remove it from your environment to increase your chances of success. So make these adjustments around you to make it easier for you. And you really, it's your brain that you're trying to soothe so that your brain can make these executive decisions for you.
And it's easier to avoid temptation than to resist it.
Ah, yes. Yes. And I think we overestimate our prowess.
Many does to bad
Yes.
things start with that,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we think we're better, we're smarter, we're wiser, whatever, than we really are. We forget again the brain. The brain gets tired, it gets distracted. The brain likes things predictable. So if the predictable you have in your default in your brain is I come home after work and I'm tired and I just go in the fridge and I just pick up whatever to eat, your weight loss journey is going to suffer.
So if you avoid buying it from you leave the people thing in the
Boom,
supermarket, then
boom.
there's nothing for you. Your brain might want it, but you're
It
already
won't be
tired. You're not
accessible
going to
in
go
your
back out and go.
environment.
You're not going to go back out and go to the store
That's
to
it.
get it.
That's it. You're trying to quit cigarettes. You're trying to quit smoking. You can't have it in the house. You've got to make it difficult for you to get to it.
Right.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's easier to avoid the temptation than it is to resist the
Yes,
temptation.
yes, yes.
And so let's talk about what most people think might be failure.
Mm.
Because none of us can be consistent 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm,
So in our journey towards our goals, we are going to find ourselves backsliding a little bit.
mm-hmm.
How does somebody deal with that? That period where they feel like I should a whole week come and I haven't gone for my morning walk, or
Yes,
I come
yes.
and I eat a whole pack of biscuit. How do you deal with that?
Okay, so number one, you see how I said when it comes to feeling anxiety, you have to already know, like bake it into the equation. You have to already know that I'm not a robot. So I've not been programmed in that way. Things will happen. I might get up and it's raining and I don't want to do that. I don't want to go walking. Or I might be sick today. I don't want to go. So things are going to happen. So I'm saying apply compassion, number one, to yourself. Just
Mm,
understanding
that's
that as a
important.
human being, yes. And to know that I'm not just giving up my plan. It's just one day. I'm going to get back on the horse and keep moving in the direction of success that I want to create. But today, because my body is feeling so whatever, or I just don't want to do it today, and it's just so heavy, I'm going to apply some compassion to myself and say, okay, I'm going to take today off. I'll take today off. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So we've got to soothe ourselves because that can cause a lot of distress because those negative thinking patterns start kicking in. Oh, you're weak, you're lazy. The voices of the people who raised us do what we're supposed to do. They call us names. So we start beating ourselves up. But if you do that too much, that's counterproductive because you want to know,
Right.
you know,
Right.
I, and it's too much energy to restart. So a lot of people, that's why they stop in guilt and shame. So they get stuck there. I'm saying to expect that you're going to not do it 100% because nobody does. Nobody does. It's really about small habits consistently. Small changes, small additions where it doesn't feel like it's a big deal to your brain. Because if it feels like too much of a big deal for your brain, like those people, like, when you go to LA Fitness, sometimes you go for the little assessment, and the little guy who's there as the gym guy, they give you the worst workout of your life the first day. You go home tomorrow, you're sore. You don't want to go back. So they
Exactly.
got to
Right.
break you in easy. Yeah, but a lot of fellas like get really excited when a newbie comes into the gym and they're like, "Yeah, but you just gonna it's too much. It's, it's too much."
Yeah.
You see, so it's small. That elephant again. How you eat an elephant?
One
It's
bite
the
at a
same
time.
principle. Yeah,
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
principle. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And one of the things that we do is that we are so harsh with ourselves, as you said. We talk to ourselves the way we would not allow. Not only we wouldn't allow anybody else to talk to us like that, we wouldn't allow that person to talk to somebody else like that. And that's the things that we say to ourselves. And
Yeah.
so I think that, one of the things we have to recognize that and almost take yourself out and see yourself talking to yourself. In other words,
Yes,
if you have a friend and the friend miss a workout for a week, you're not going to tell the friend, but you hopeless you miss a week, you may as well give up. You will tell him it's just a week. All you have to do is
that's
restart.
right.
So
That's
why
right.
don't you why don't you say that to yourself?
That's right. That's a lot of healing that has to happen for us. It's about changing those cognitive negative patterns of thinking that we picked up along the way. There were ways we used to survive. So maybe to push ourselves, we used to be very critical in a way as if we borrowed the voices of our parents or teachers or the people who were on us. And they're not with us right now, but we can almost hear their voices because we took on that kind of way of thinking and talking to ourselves. But when you become an adult, you start to investigate these kinds of ways of thinking, and they do more harm than good. They do more harm than good. And even when you end up, say, creating whatever it is you had the goal for, sometimes you do it, but you're full of anxiety, you're full of like nervousness. Can I keep it? Can I maintain it? All of that. So compassion for yourself.
I wanted to remind the audience about that book that we spoke about. What's the name of the book again? You have the workbook for it, and you have
Oh,
the book
the name of the
to
book is Do It Now. Yeah.
do it now.
A
Yeah.
7-step plan to fix bad habits that block success. And so
Say it
there's the
slower.
book.
Say it slower, so that because I want them to go and get it.
Oh,
So say it slower for
I'll
them
put
to
it in
know
the
what it
chat
is.
too.
Yeah,
So
put
it's
it in the
called
chat
Do
as well.
It Now. And I titled the book Do It Now because I understood after my mom passed away, like I was 21 and she was here one day, gone the next. That if you want to do something, you got to get it in. If you got a goal, if you have a desire, you got to start because time is a limited resource. It's not waiting for you and it could change like that. So go ahead and do it now. But I understand too that we are not, like, we don't exist in a vacuum. We have people who raised us, we have experiences we've been through that messed with our thinking, that mess with the way we think, about our abilities, can we do it? A lot of self doubt. People are walking around with a lot of self doubt, high anxiety, depression, like just a lot of burdens. And the book offers techniques and strategies to deal with that yourself. I mean, look, I'm in the field because I think counseling and therapy are very valuable, but I know that not everybody's comfortable or has the money or access. But in the meantime, you got to help yourself. In the meantime, you have to help yourself. And the book offers 7 strategies, 7 ways to do that, to go from A to Z, to go from A to Z.
So it's the 7 habits,
Mm-hmm. So 7 steps. So,
7 steps.
so for example, here I am. I'm ready to start and create something new. Hmm?
Hmm.
I have to start now. I have to start wherever I am with whatever I have. I can't be waiting and saying, well, I don't have that yet. Or wait until when I get this, then. No, you have to start now. Because if your goal is realistic, you should be able to attain it, even if it's challenging, if you start working on it now. Now,
Right.
you might have to ask for help, second step, because you realize, oh my God, I don't have everything I need, but I really want it and I have the energy for it. So you ask for help. Help might be a therapist, help might be a book, a seminar, school. I want to become a nurse. What does that mean? I have to go to school. Yeah. So ask for help. But as you're doing that, commit to the process, commit to the goal that you say you want to create. Do the work. Part of that work is eliminating negative thoughts and learning how to, like, you've got to fight with your mind to reset it, to put it on the path of whatever it is you're trying to create. It's got to line up. It's got to line up. I also think you've got to connect to whomever or whatever you believe is your higher power, because there's some problems in life that just feel like more than we can handle alone. So you've got to create for yourself some kind of spiritual practice that pulls you out from that. And I've said as well that when you've done all you can do, let it go. Right? So do your best and forget the rest. I was thinking the other day that one chapter I might add, if I had to redo that book, is to prepare for the unexpected. Because whew, even when you've made the best plan, like that, like the sailor, right? You give the example of the man with the boat. He goes from Dominica to Guadeloupe. Let's suppose a sudden freak storm shows up, or some big, they happen to meet a whale
Or
that
engine
slams against the
failure or
boat.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got to be alert that something unexpected that you could never envision is going to show up, because this is life and life is unpredictable. So, what do you do? Just like what we were talking about earlier, you can't give up. Have compassion on yourself. You know what? I got a hard knock, a hard blow. Let me get myself together and get back on track, because you've already committed all the way to the end.
So our culture is not a culture that grew up around going to therapists and going to lie on somebody's couch or sit
Hmm.
in a park with them in a
Hmm.
professional setting.
Yeah.
Um, Especially for men, I think our women always had some kind of support system. My
Hmm.
mom was in social league, you know, girls
Church,
kind of
choir.
come together a little more
Hmm.
than boys.
Hmm.
But we cannot stay the same way we always were.
No,
Life progresses. So
no.
where does therapy fit in? Would you advise everybody, so for example, to go get a therapy session just to see what it's like? How does therapy fit in our whole outlook?
Honestly, I think everybody's got something that needs some kind of therapeutic support or intervention at some point in their life. And some of us go and some of us don't. Yeah. But I would say if you ever have the opportunity to go sit with somebody who is not you, who doesn't know you, but who's there in your best interest to support you, who can listen and reflect back to you what they're hearing, mm, and help you, not them tell you, but help you almost remember the path you were taking, almost remember your map, your direction, where you had set out to go. So that's what therapy is. Like therapy is like, I mean, a lot of us have gone to confession to a priest, even though we've not gone to therapy. It's kind of like that, except you're not praying. You know, somebody's sitting with you for a whole hour
Somebody
of
who's
your life.
trained, somebody who is
Somebody who's
professionally
trained
trained.
to listen.
Yeah.
And the skill that therapists have in big measure is how to listen.
Right.
Not that they're listening, because many of us are talking to many people around us. They're not listening. They were not trained to listen in a way that feels safe for us, in a way that feels, that person is really listening to me. Oh yeah, yeah, look, you're telling me that's what I want to say. Yes, you're right, you're right. So you're buying time from somebody to listen to you well, to again to help you reset, to help you remember, to help you see things maybe in a different way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you think it would be beneficial for some everybody to, and it doesn't make you crazy to go to a professional.
I,
See it almost like you go to a spa, you go get a mani
like that,
pedi, you
like
go
that.
to yeah,
A
forget
lot of us would avoid becoming crazy if we went way early when we were feeling anxious, overwhelmed, a little like frustrated. Let me just go talk to somebody else about this. The same amount of money I spend to go get a massage, let me go sit and talk to a therapist about it. Let me see what that person says. Let me see what that experience feels like. Yeah.
yeah,
It'll take a lot of I think there's a lot of confusion, and we're often confused about things we don't have experience with, or we don't put ourselves in the way of. So put yourself in the way of it and see what you think.
right. And so there are things that make it challenging also for us to attain our goals. One of
Mm-hmm.
them is unexpected events.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked us if we can talk about the sudden passing of a public figure like Ferdinand Frampton.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, this is not a therapy session, but I don't know if you want to spend a minute or two just talking to the audience about
Mm-hmm.
how maybe we might even be blind to how we are reacting to events like that. It might make us
Mm-hmm.
think. Some people might say, "Boy, no matter what you do, you don't have control," and that might be the starting of them unraveling and not pursuing their goals. How
Mm-hmm.
how do we deal with events, whether it's in our immediate family or in a public setting like how Ferdinand was?
Mm-hmm.
How would you talk to people about dealing with such traumatic or chaotic events? Maybe somebody's mother that passed, or their brother, or their child, or you
Mm-hmm.
know, how do we help our mind to assimilate and to deal with that?
Mm. So grief is such a personal experience. Um, so I mean, to everybody really who's feeling the loss, I'm very sorry. I'm really very sorry, and I want to extend my condolences. Um, a lot of people who are not very close, like you almost expect that the people who are very close to her to hurt, and to have to go through the recovery process. Yeah, the
Hmm.
shock, the shock was palpable on social media. You have shock and you have like denial, like no, this really didn't happen, like that cannot be true. And then a lot of people go into like bargaining, like please make it not be so. And then when it's still so, like you go into like rage, anger, confusion. Before we process all that through time, and now I've come to understand personally, I think we have to apply interventions before we get to acceptance. When I say interventions for grief, I mean actually sit with it, feel what you're feeling, like feel the pain of it, like feel the emotions that are coming up, feel it. Yeah, things you can do are walking out in nature, like spending time out in nature, because nature is a natural healer. There's something called biophilia, which is nature therapy, essentially. Just go sit somewhere close to a lake, on the beach, in the mountains, wherever. Yeah. I think it's important to talk about it. Some people feel uncomfortable talking about death, but it's very important to process, to tell the story of the person's life, tell the story of what you're feeling. Yeah, express it. And if you don't have a therapist, there are people around. I'm hoping that you feel safe enough to talk to about that. You know, where you can express your vulnerabilities to people. I think that time only is not enough, because if you don't uh, process grief well, you end up with something that's called prolonged grief disorder, where,
Prolonged grief father.
yeah, where 5 years out, you're still bawling the same way you were bawling in year one. Yeah, which is, they say, the research shows that about 18 months going towards 2 years, for the most part, we start kind of coming back around. You know, it's still very painful, but you're
2 years.
finding yourself again. Yeah, a whole 2 years.
Wow.
A whole 2 years, you start kind of, okay, you've gotten used to the fact that the person is not returning, and you start kind of trying to create a life without the person that feels good for you. So that takes time, but I think interventions like people actually being supportive, say of the family, because that's a shocking death. That kind of death is can be traumatic for people who are very close to that person. It might
Mm.
take a long time, but just a community, especially those people who, yes, I feel the pain, but I can hold those who are really falling apart. Yeah. Just to be there. Let people know that you are there for them. I am here for you. I'm sorry this happened. How can I support you? Yeah. As opposed to, don't cry. Why are you crying? She wouldn't want you to cry. She was such a nice girl. She would be,
She was
stop.
always jovial and
It
happy.
was just,
She would make it sound,
stop
yeah.
it. Like, to me, that is just uncouth. Please stop it. I think that's the worst thing you can say to a person who's grieving. Just be there and let the person know, I am here for you. How can I support you?
It's
Stop
so
telling people how to grieve.
it's so important that you said 2 years, because
Hmm.
somebody might lose a loved one, and we may not be necessarily talking just about death. It might be the end of
Hmm.
a long and deep relationship. It might
Yes,
be,
yes,
so,
yes.
it's not only death, it's loss. It might be a loss of a
Mhm.
business, loss of a
That's
job.
right. Hmm.
Um, and you say that the grieving process takes 18 months to 2 years before you start coming back. The
Yeah.
dangerous thing about it is that when it just happened, it's easy to identify that I'm feeling that way because this just happened.
Hmm.
I feel depressed because that just happened. But 12 months down the line, and 18 months down the line, and 24 months down the line, you
Hmm.
might not associate your current state of mind with that event,
Yes.
and therefore not know how to process it because you have no idea what is it that's causing that. And so I
Hmm.
think that is such a, if there's any one takeaway from me from our conversation tonight,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
is that that grieving period can last for that long.
Yes. And longer if it is complicated, like if it's a very sudden death, or if it's somebody who died that you were close to, but you all maybe fell out, you didn't get a chance to say, I'm sorry. You know, a
Hmm.
parent that you wanted to be closer to, like a father, and your father left, and you never got to be really close to your dad. Those things can complicate grief. If there were things you wanted to say to the person and you didn't get to say it, or that feeling that it's incomplete. I had so many more things to do with you, and what is going on? So you start questioning life. Like people will start questioning life themselves. What is this life about? Who am I now? So it's a recalibrating process, but like a Malpapai poetry, you can calibrate wrong. You
Right.
understand? You can
Hmm.
recalibrate wrong
Hmm. Hmm.
and get really hard, and you know there are lots of things. When grief gets twisted,
Right.
so grief has to be expressed, and it's got to be supported, and it's an individualized process. So I'm on anybody who's coming to somebody in grief who says it's okay, they don't want you to cry. No, that to me, that is wounding. That is very, stop. Like, don't do that. I'm here for you. I know this is hard. What can I do to help you get through? Here's my number.
Right.
Or I'm coming over to sit with you. That's how we take care of people in grief.
Because some people get awkward and they don't know what to say.
Well, you know what I would say to that? All of us are going to go. Nobody's leaving this place alive. So you
Mm,
better stop with the awkwardness because you're going to go too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because when that person is in real distress, sometimes you say nothing, just be there, right?
that's it.
And so,
Just
and so the takeaway I want to do from that is to encourage everybody who's listening. If you've gone through a traumatic event in recent time, you need to sit back and see, do you see a difference in yourself since that happened, whether it's 2 years ago or 6 months ago? And maybe you might want to go talk to somebody professional that can help you unwind that and get
mhm,
it loose, because you may
mhm.
be dealing with something that you don't know that you're dealing with.
Yes,
Right.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I
And
agree.
so as we approach the end of our conversation, it's over an hour already. You, you know, just some of the things that we've mentioned in terms of goal setting. The most important one you said was writing it down. Write
Mm-hmm,
down your goals as your
mm-hmm,
destination. And then you spoke about developing habits that
mm-hmm,
almost make it automatic. So if
mm-hmm,
you wake up in the morning and you know that you have had time, your decision is to go out walking. Maybe put your shoes next to your bed, so as soon as you get out of the bed, it's right there. It's easy to
mm-hmm,
put it on. Lay out your clothes, whatever you're going to wear to go walking in the morning,
mm-hmm,
so you don't have to be looking for it. So lay it out the night before.
mm-hmm.
Make habits. If like I know, a lot of people after they eat, they smoke a cigarette. So that's a bad habit. Let's say you want to stop smoking, that's a bad habit. So if you recognize that, make sure your cigarettes are far away from you when
Yes,
you're having your meal. So just recognize what it is that you want and try to develop habits that will make it almost automatic for you to make it
absolutely.
easier to run for your goals. The other thing I would mention, is that, a few years ago I had Dr. Simone Matthew on,
Mm-hmm.
and she wrote a book called Push Past 10.
Mm.
And the concept that I got from that book was when you first start something, you start with gusto and energy. So it's January and you have your goals and you're going after your goals. But right around 10%, you start to feel doubt. Why am I doing that? I could be in my bed.
Mm.
Why am I out here in the cold?
Mhm.
I could go out to eat. Why am I saving the money? Instead, I work for
Right.
my money. You start getting that period where you start doubting that what you're doing is worth it.
These
And
automatic negative thoughts and the cognitive distortions, they show up.
that's what it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And so if you go past that period, so, like what you were saying, anticipate
Yeah.
that period and tell yourself that if you push past that period,
Yes.
you're going to get renewed energy on the other side.
Yes.
So I want you to wrap up our conversation.
Hmm.
Just kind of bring it in. I don't know if there are aspects to goal setting and goals achieving that I haven't asked you about or we haven't had a chance to talk. But just
Hmm.
spend a few minutes and go through the whole process, because we said a lot of things and maybe we
Hmm.
took people off and we distracted them, but maybe like start from step one,
Hmm.
writing down your goals, and all the way
Hmm.
to where that puts us on a path to
Yeah.
success.
So, what I'm going to say first off is that you are worthy of the outcome you get once you've attained your goals. So, you're worthy of creating whatever it is you want. Again, as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, I say, no holds barred. Go for it. If you want to increase the likelihood of accomplishing your goals, write them down. But don't just write them down in a vague way, write them in a smart way. Smart is specific. I want to lose 10 pounds. Make it measurable. 10 is measurable. Make it attainable. I can lose 10 pounds by September. Make it realistic. It is realistic to say I could lose 10 pounds by September, and make it time oriented with a time on it, September. So that means if I've gone to December and have only lost 5 pounds, I need to revise that plan. I need to revise that plan. Yeah. And how can I do that little assessment in revising my plan? I can use a strategy, WDEP. Ask myself, what have I been doing to accomplish the goal? And is it working? I mean, what do I want? I said I wanted to lose 10 pounds by September. What have I been doing to lose 10 pounds by September? Evaluate it. How is that working? Did I lose it? Do I still have more to go? And then P, create a new plan. Adjust your plan, or terminate the plan if you got to your goal, or you know what I mean? But it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing process because nothing in life goes just like this. Things are usually doing that. Yeah, because nothing stays the same as a law of the universe. We're constantly in motion. We're going back and forth. The pendulum is swinging here and there. Today I'm 100%. I'm running 5 miles. Tomorrow I'm like, you know, something came up. Oh, my toe, whatever. You know. So we have to understand all of that about us. And even as we're working hard to accomplish our goals, offer ourselves compassion when we are not 100% all the time. Because who can be 100% all the time? Why can you not be 100 all the time? Because life is life, and life is going to offer you these brilliant
Oh, technology is misbehaving again, huh?
call them AFOs. You can navigate technology misbehaving there. So that's what I mean. I think it's about approach. I think it's about understanding. I think it's about awareness. I think it's about just understanding I have to revitalize myself, because I'm a human being. Things are going to come. Grief might show up. I might need to take a whole 2 years off. I took a year and a half off from work, from direct work, to recover from grief. You know what I mean? So but
Mhm,
once you
mhm.
recover, and in the recovering, you're maintaining your awareness. You're doing what you know to do better, to heal yourself, and you get back on track.
Right.
Back on
Um,
track.
Shima is saying we shouldn't say lose because losing some things mean that you might go searching for it and you might find it. So don't say lose weight, say release or get rid of.
That's a beautiful thing that she just did. That's a beautiful thing that Shima just did. And when I'm meticulous with my language, I will speak like Shima, because she's correct. So words are very powerful because they're like, it's what like you've got to take it at face value. Like take words at face value. And so she's right. Depending on the languaging of the goals, that's another thing maybe I need to mention. So when you're writing your goals, make it be in the positive, as opposed to I don't want to, lose money this year. You don't write a release that kind of goal, right? Ease yourself up from that kind of goal, and frame it in the sense of I earn at least such and such each year, as
Right.
opposed to I don't lose any money. No, we're starting with losing and loss. The brain is going to glom itself onto losing money, and that becomes the subconscious programming. So that's a different topic.
So in
That's another
writing
2 hours.
your goals, pay a little bit of attention to the language that
To
you
the
use.
languaging. Yes, 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 Shima. Thank you for that. Yeah.
So when you read your goal, because in addition to writing your goals, you have to read them often, right? So write it
Yes.
in such a way that when you read them, they uplift you.
Yes. So I typically say write it in the present and the positive. So
Hmm.
I earn at least such and such. Yeah. I earn at least. I lose at, well, I am 150 whatever $1,000 richer.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
I am.
yeah.
I am. Like the
Yes, I
Rastamans say,
am.
I am, right?
Yes, I
Yeah,
am doing it now.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah.
Peter Tosh has a song about I am. I am what I am.
Yes.
I am. I am.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Rasta, it turns out, was very inspired.
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
so one last topic. I know we're wrapping up, but then one of the audience gave put a word in my chat for me
Hmm.
that I think it would be remiss of us not to address:
Hmm.
procrastination and
Yes.
how it steals our goals from us.
Yes. So procrastination is one of those bad habits, one of those habits that I identify in my book, Do It Now, as I mean, it's a thief. It's a thief. Some of us have conned ourselves into saying things like, "Oh, I procrastinate because I do better when I have
Under
a
pressure,
deadline right."
yeah.
Hmm. Procrastination is actually more often associated with anxiety and putting things off. So, for whatever reason, and for many reasons, right? Either we think this is going to take a lot of time to sit and write that 5-page paper. Is my brain is saying, "Oh, this is just so much work to pull all of these ideas together." It's a reaction to stress. Some reactions to stress are we shut down, we fight, we freeze, and some of us we just run away. So that procrastination is all avoidance from approaching the problem. And a piece of information I gathered from my dissertation studying African American women who were experiencing hopelessness and suicide is that those people who approach problems, no matter how big the problem is, they have a greater success rate than those people who avoid problems. So I understand that the anxiety is strong, but I'm going to say again that because you're alive, anxiety is going to be with you. And anxiety is, in a way, the brain's awareness of a new task, something it's never done before, or something it thinks with the limited information it has before you start the project. It thinks that this is going to be, it's going to need a lot of energy. So it's a way to pseudo protect you, but you knowing and understanding that your job is to move through that using strategies like, hey, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to go take a walk by the lake, I'm going to go play with my puppy, I'm going to pray, I'm going to use my affirmations to manage my anxiety as I do what I'm supposed to do to get to the end of what it is I'm trying to create.
Mm.
There's
Very,
always a
very,
way.
very.
There's
There's
always a
always a
way.
way. You know.
Always a way.
I think we can do a whole show on our blind spots. Um, I know you have a live schedule for tomorrow to talk
Mm-hmm.
about what you call the devils,
Mm-hmm.
12 devils.
See, diable.
Tell take an opportunity to invite the audience to listen to you
Yeah, so
tomorrow.
guys, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm talking about, how we like to say, oh, the devil that make me do that. The devil that in my way, the devil blocking me. Maybe you're the devil. Maybe the way you're thinking is the devil. I'm going to highlight 12 mental mistakes we make that they block success like no joke. Yeah, they get in the way. They interfere with our relationships, they interfere with our money, they interfere with our health. And a lot of us, we think like we're right in persisting in these ways, but they're called cognitive distortions, and they will tie you up, they will bind you.
So
So
the
loose
English
yourself.
the English word is cognitive distortions,
Distortion, yes.
but but in our Dominican thing we call it the devil. Diabla.
Yeah, man. The devil that my way in you, and lose yourself, lose yourself.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
time this Protestant churches, Catholic used to do a lot of crusades, and there used to be this preacher. He said, "Loose me." He tell Satan, "Loose me now." So
Yep.
that's what. So tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
7
on
p.m.
your
Eastern.
channel. There's a
Yes, sir.
number on the screen, 767-295. I'm not sure what that number is for.
Mhm.
Um, Watch Instagram Live on TDN Radio Caribbean. Oh, I think we have some. Is it tomorrow? This thing for Alex. Sam, if that's the case, put it in the chat. Let's tell the audience about it. I know there's a launching of a book on Miss Charles that TDN is carrying.
Oh,
So I'm not sure if
Alex,
that's what.
look.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Alex's book. Yeah,
Hmm.
but you know, like I was saying, we have. I want you to come back. I want you to come back a few times this year for sure,
Hmm.
because I think when you hear we talk about um, areas that we don't normally think about.
Mm.
We don't think about how we think,
Mm.
and how we think is so crucial to how to our outcomes, and so that's why I wanted to do this program, talk about
Mhm.
goal setting. Don't just dismiss it like you hear that New Year's resolution thing. I'm not in that. It's not that. It's about if you don't have a plan, then you have no idea where you're going. And how do you make a
Mhm.
plan? You make a plan by setting a goal and working towards that goal. Otherwise, what's the
Mhm.
purpose of a plan?
Mhm.
Right? Like you started was, if you're going to build a house, you have a plan. You you you
That's
you
right.
don't you don't just start to build because you have some money. You buy some block, you buy some cement, and you know you put some cement down. Tomorrow you have blocks, you buy some blocks, you put some block.
You know, we've seen
uh,
we've seen the outcomes of things like that, right? Like we've seen some people try to do these things, and the house
don't even
punching like that.
don't even get me into politics stuff, Truthfully.
We have
I know
whole
that's not what you were saying, but
developments that are just sitting because
yeah, yeah,
of poor
yeah,
planning. Yeah,
poor planning, yeah, yeah.
it's very
There's a
costly. Costs a
there's a
lot.
cer- there's a certain rule I understand. One starting Pilit Sufria and one starting Rosalie. Because
Hmm.
when I used to hike, there's a trail that goes from Rosalie to Pilit Sufria. It passes at the back of where the Rosalie Catholic Church was, and you end up in
Hmm.
Fontainebleau in Pilit Sufria, and you can walk through San Sylvia and get to Castle Bruce. So I understand they started the road at both ends, and
Hmm.
where they were supposed to come together, they end up a little bit apart. That's so now So
Oh,
now, so now we might have to build a sideways bridge to connect the two pieces together. But anyhow, that's a different story for.
oh no!
But
Oh
it's an
no!
example of a plan that doesn't work, right? Or
Oh
did
my
not work.
goodness!
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my!
So that's not what we're talking. We're talking about setting goals, because if you set a
Yeah.
goal, then you make a plan to reach that goal, and so
Hmm.
you have something to go towards. You
Yes.
have a child. You want your child to go to college. You make a plan so
Hmm.
that when that child comes of college age, and they've
Hmm.
done well in school, you're not wringing your hands as to where you're going to get the money to get them
Hmm.
to go to college. You have a plan for your health,
Hmm.
um, so that when you make your boulot l'argent, you can enjoy the money. You're not sick and
That's right.
bedridden. Um,
Hmm.
so there's so many reasons.
Hmm.
Financial reasons, financial goals, health goals, career goals, professional
Hmm.
goals, relationship goals,
Hmm.
community goals. And as I said,
Absolutely.
relationship goals, I want to talk to the young people a little bit, because we have a lot of young people that dream of, they set a goal to grow up and have a nice family. I
Hmm.
know, a wife, a
Hmm.
dog, and 3 children or whatever it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
But while they're young, they go partying, it's carnival
Hmm.
time, and they end up doing things that they don't want to do. Somebody gets pregnant, you have a child,
Unplanned. No
and
plan.
yeah, you have a plan, but maybe you didn't write it down, maybe you didn't think about it properly.
Wasn't smart.
Those kind of things. I think it's
Hmm.
conversations that we need to have with our young people
Hmm.
and with ourselves, and generally. Um, Programs like this and what you do every week, multiple times a week, is so important because there's almost nowhere else where we have conversations about our mind,
Hmm.
and how and thinking and stopping and strategizing. And so I'm going to ask you to give some closing remarks, and
Hmm.
and let's, because otherwise we'll be here for another hour. So let's wrap it down. I don't want to indulge on your time too much. Let's wrap it up.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I really enjoy coming here, talking to you, talking to your people who listen to you. I mean, me personally, I think 2024 has got to be about creating success. And as you said earlier, people who create big success, they don't just do it by guess. You got to plan and you got to execute the plan. So I say, let's do that. Success is a divine right. You have a right to create success if you want that. But everything has got its formula. So why not? Let's learn to do it better together. So, yeah,
Thank you.
that's what
And
I'm
I'm,
saying.
I'm
That's what I'm wrapping it, right? Set your goals, make them smart, assess them, reevaluate them, freshen them up, adjust them when life comes and gets in the way, redirect, but stay committed to the end and keep doing the work. Yeah.
certainly, certainly. And I want to say I was saying a very special thanks because there is no time that I ask you to come on that you don't agree right away. And I
Oh,
am honored and very appreciative of that. Thank you so
you're
much.
welcome. You're welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
And we shared some really great information with the audience tonight. Folks, I encourage you, don't just listen to it, take some action. Make some time to set some
Hmm.
goals. 2024 is a year where you can achieve. Somebody said that 24 is an 8th year, the figure 8. And so if you believe in that sort of, even if you don't,
Yeah,
it doesn't mean it's saucy, it doesn't mean it's anything. It's just having some trick that you trick your mind to help you to
that's right.
motivate yourself. So it's a year where we can accomplish, and there's nothing more than I want my audience to prosper,
Hmm.
because we all do this voluntarily. So if you prosper, you
Yes,
might you might send
indeed.
you might send TDN a contribution.
Indeed.
So I want you to prosper. I want you to kill it. I want you to do really, really well. Because if you do that, then TDN is going to expand and have even
Mhm.
more of an impact on more people, and what we do can be enjoyed by even more people.
Mhm.
And so audience members, viewers, listeners, I really wish you a successful um, 2024.
Yes,
Number
yes, yes.
one, make a commitment to your health, because health should be number one. Without health, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter what else you achieve, you cannot enjoy it. And even if you say you leave it for your loved ones, they're going to be grieving. Yeah, Dr. Truffy say for 24
Yeah.
months. Yeah. So first of all, set some goals for your health and work towards achieving them. And then I wish you success in everything else that that you wish to pursue. Dr. Shifi, maybe we do this at the end of the first quarter as a first where
I was thinking the same.
yeah
That's
where
that's good. That's very good.
yeah we can encourage people to assess what they've done so far, and maybe they will
Hmm.
have achieved their goals and found it was too easy, so they can set new
Okay.
goals. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sam, I wanted to put the information about Alex stuff up again for me, please. Let's share it with the audience. Alex Bruno is launching his book called Unedited about Miss Charles. It's about an interview that he did with Miss Charles. And
Hmm.
he's saying that it was unedited. He's launching it in Dominica on Friday, the 26th at 2 p.m. and it will be carried live on TDN radio. So put it on your calendar. I think it's pretty interesting. I know there are a few people who are going to say some words about what they remember about Miss Charles and share some of their memories and her achievements. I think it will be a good program to watch. So I invite you to look at that. Um, some Carla is asking for info to purchase Dr. Triffy book. So Dr. Triffy has a couple of books, but I'm going to let you tell the audience.
Yes. So I will, Miss Drago, I will put it in the chat when we get off here.
Mhm,
But the two books, the book with the theory and the um,
workbook.
explanations,
Mhm.
the lovely write up. It's a 7-step plan to fix bad habits that block success. So it's called Do It Now. Mm. And there's also a workbook that goes with that book. You can break it down, root it out, clean it up. Yeah, and the book is available. They're available on Amazon.
Right. And then the latest one that you wrote is about Dominican
The
parables
latest
called
one is about
Parabel.
Dominica. The latest one is a love letter to Dominica. It's called Powerball. And Powerballs are wise sayings, parables that our ancestors or Dominica ancestors saved, kept, transferred to us. And I want us to document those things so that we don't lose them. And, I hope other people build on it, like this is who we are. This is where, this is how our people took care of their mental health, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah. I want to leave one parable with them before I go.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
has to do with goal setting.
Yes.
Si zandolite bon vient ni pateke asubaikal. So set your goals so that it's challenging.
Yes.
For those that don't understand Creole, it says that if lizards were good to eat, they would not be on the fence. So don't set your goals where you just go in the backyard and pick something in the yard.
Hmm.
Set your goal that is going to challenge you. Um, the achievement of the goal is going to improve you. So don't set your goal to go on the fence and pick up a lizard. Set
Hmm.
your goal to go into the forest and at least see a bear or something.
Hmm.
All right,
Yeah.
a little bit scary. Not you know. Yeah. So that's what that's what I'll leave them with. I don't know if you have one you want to leave them with.
You know what? Abalate setive. Abalate setive. That means beneath the earth, all that's below down there are little worms, maggots. So if you've got something on your heart to do it when? Do it now.
No, do it
Do
now.
it now.
Awesome. That's where we're gonna leave it, folks.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chibi, for your time, and thank you, folks, for your time for staying with us for this extended time. It has been episode 2 of season 14 of this week in interview with your host Anthony Drago. Thank you to the staff in the background who makes this happen. I know it's carnival season, so enjoy, be safe, and have fun. And we'll do this again next week, Wednesday, another episode of This Week in Interview. Good night, folks. Um, have a nice weekend.
Thank you.